All right, I'm back. Welcome back, BeGreat community. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I'm so thankful that God has given me the vision to be back. The BeGreat podcast is back. I got a special guest. He's an amazing person, amazing man. He's actually my cousin, and I'm so grateful for him. And I'm grateful for this opportunity for him to be on the show. And I thought this would be, welcoming him back to the podcast. I thought he'd be the perfect example of a guest that would open up this entrepreneurship series. So at this time, I would like to welcome Vernon Davis to the show.
Thank you, cousin. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform. Super proud of you, man. Super proud of what you're doing. I know people, they see the BeGreat apparel, and the BeGreat apparel is a great entity in itself, but the platform in which you are using what you say, the merch to showcase is bigger than what people can even see. So I'm proud of you, man, and happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Definitely appreciate that, man. It's definitely been a journey. The most beautiful thing about it is seeing people. It's cool when people order the merch, but it's even cooler when people are wearing it because of the message. It's like you doing what you do, and then you travel, and then people see it, and they're like, "Hey, what is that?" So I love how it sparks the conversation, and then it allows people to break into other people, and then it goes like, I'm doing this to be great. What are you doing to be great? And how can we become great together? So I love that, man. So we're gonna go ahead and start this. So in your own words, I want you to, I kind of open it up and told everybody how amazing you are and how much love I have for you. But in your own words, like, who is Vernon Davis?
Man,
what do you want people to learn in this episode?
Man, what I just heard you say is it's a journey. And 2017, I was 295 pounds. We had decided to have another child, our third child. Me and my wife, Nikki, got two boys. They are 17-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy, Steele and Roman. And then we decided to have Sasha. Now, this was at the time we was 37 when we decided to have Sasha. And all our kids intentional, like all of them on purpose, no blessings out of nowhere. So we went in, decide to have another child, man. And so when she turned 4, I remember her wanting to be active and be outside, and I had no energy. At the time I was drinking. I was a functional alcoholic. And what a functional alcoholic is me, I was holding it down as far as providing for the children. I was providing for the household, but I wasn't showing up for the household as far as completely being here. So at that moment, revelation happened. Revelation was like, in order for me to actually be the head of the household, or in order for me to actually lead these humans that I dwell with, I had to make a 180. I had to make a change. So at that point right there, man, my next level, my journey started. So
which is beautiful, because like my dad has told me the stories, and I was able to see the stories, but then to be able to like really like actually see the pictures that you post, and see the content that you post on Facebook, and see where you came from to where you are now, dude, it's amazing. Like, I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's incredible. So like, when were you first introduced to like alcohol? Like, when were you first introduced?
So it's been a generational cycle, and if nothing else, people take from this message, you know, it's hard to look at in the midst of the journey, but when you are in a cycle, it becomes normal to you. So generation after generation in my family, the DNA of who we are contained a lot of alcohol and good spirited, good cultured people as far as humans go, engagement, loving people, but we were able to hold down jobs, not necessarily hit rock bottom. So when you come up in that, it becomes a normal process to you. It becomes a normal way of life. So you connect to that, and then then it's just your everyday cycle. So coming up as a kid, I watched my dad, my uncles do this same thing. Some of my uncles. So half of my uncles were not like that, but it's when it's a part of your DNA, man, you learn, it's learned behavior. And Cook, when I tell you, like, just to see it, just to be a part of it, still beautiful people, still big personalities. And when you decide and you make a decision to come out of that, the devil starts to tell you that your personality and everything that's great about you is attached to these toxic habits. And that is the hard part, to detach from that and to actually elevate into freedom. So, when you say it is an amazing journey, it is, but it's completely God.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can definitely speak on that. I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I know he's real. The stuff that I've been through, that I know it's only God that's brought me through that, So I know, like, through that. So your daughter comes to you. What was it like? You're sitting in the living room, or where do you remember the exact place where you was and when she said this?
Dude, you're so dope with this. I love seeing you. I love seeing people operate in their gift, man, because for so long I was living in a cloud of confusion and I couldn't decipher, couldn't discern things. So just seeing you operate in your gift is just beautiful to me. I just got to say that. We was watching TV. She wanted to go outside. I tried to talk her into staying in the house and watching more TV. And it was at that point that the light bulb went off. I was like, I got to get healthy. That was November of 2017. So December 2017, I started strategizing. 295 pounds. Started strategizing, sought out a nutritionist. He wasn't licensed or anything, but he knew about the science of macros. And so the journey started. When the journey started, he put me on a meal plan. He said, look, this ain't about the money, but I'm gonna have you pay me $60 a month so you can have some skin in the game, so your mind will be focused to what you're doing. He said, but I don't just do this for everybody. So if you are telling me that you want my help, you're gonna have to show up. So I started showing up, and I have a very 0 to 100 personality, whether I'm attached to bad habits or whether I'm attached to good habits. It's pure, all out. Yeah, no kind of in between. There's no room for that with me. So man, we take off with the journey. He helps me, he provides some meal plans, he shows me how to do it. I went out and got a CPAP. That CPAP, my brother, Vincent Davis, told me, hey, it's gonna give you some energy, man. You'll get back working out, you'll feel good again. I'm like, whatever, let's do it. I'm seeking out any avenue that I can. Ego Ego, Cook, out the window. Pride, out the window. Whoever I got to talk to, whatever I got to do, my little girl, my sons, my wife, all this anxiety that I'm putting on the household, not even realizing it. Me doing me, me doing me. So I'm getting ready to get amplified. Whoever's listening, I'm getting ready to get amplified because my spirit and my emotions are attached to this journey. So it takes off, man. I go get the CPAP. Sleep doctors don't even want to give me a CPAP because I got mild sleep apnea. I go to the doctor. Your blood pressure is kind of high. No serious red flags, but enough that I know that I am not in the physical shape that I need to be in to lead myself, no less lead my family. So I get the CPAP, I take off on the journey. I shed 30 pounds in about 2 months, like big time. So I got the CPAP at home. So I'm in the house, it's sounding like Darth Vader every night when I go to sleep. And I'm like, this can't be my reality. I can't have this thing next to my bedside every night, putting on this mask. It's louder than me snoring at the time.
Yeah.
I shed 30 pounds. This thing starts choking me. I go back to the sleep doctor. She's like, Mr. Davis, you've lost 30 pounds in 2 months. Like, you're ready to scale out of this thing. Again, a light bulb goes off, right? As many times that I heard that, hey, if you change your health, it can get you out of these prescription meds. It can get you off of these things that doctors put you on. But I had never did it. I heard it, but I had never did it. When I did that, it was game on. I took off like a rocket. And the guy who was my nutritionist was like, you are my greatest example of a client. You took off on this joint. So I shed about 70 pounds, went on to lose, another 40 pounds. I'm down to high school weight, feeling great. First thing I did, Cook, went hike Mount LeConte in our backyard in the Great Smoky Mountains. 11 million visitors a year come to this park. It's the only national park in the United States that you can still walk in, go in, hike in, explore without paying any kind of price tag to walk in it. The only one in the United States. And I only been able to visit it as a tourist, go up and down the road, never went into those woods, never got into that solitude place with God. That's the first thing I do. 5 months after I start the journey, I hike 6.5 miles up, 6.5 miles down. When I went up from the base, 72 degrees. When I got to the top, 52 degrees. Overcast all the way up. Couldn't hardly see nothing. Come out of the lodge, sun opens up. God opens up. I'm out there with 7, 8 more people, but let my mind tell it, I was all alone. It was me and God in the wilderness. As I'm coming down the mountain, I'm seeing all of God's beauty. I'm seeing a man coming up the mountain in his 70s. I'm coming down the mountain. I see a 3-year-old. Those two things let me know that this exploration, this life it's got to be a purpose behind it. And that purpose is universal. That purpose can attach to anybody. Just like when people see me with this BeGreat brand, it's not a skin color, not a gender, not an age, not anybody who can't attach with BeGreat. It's a universal language. It's a universal code. And so when I seen that, and I'm hiking down that mountain with my group, other individuals who have been broken, that's looking for purpose, looking for life. We get down to the bottom. We talk about the hike. And at that point right there, I look back up that mountain and I was like, my life will never be the same. Once you experience freedom on that level, it would be insanity for you to go back to do anything else. Once you taste, touch, and experience freedom, to go back to anything else is going to be excruciating. It's going to eat away at you for the rest of your life. So I made it my life's mission to tell my story, to tell my testimony as often, as much, as loud as I could, because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that was down in that hole. And I had to let go of my ego, and I had to reach my hand up, and there was somebody at the top of the hole that was there to pull me out of it, as it is for others. But you have to understand, and you have to realize that you are captive, and you put yourself in that place. And when you understand that, when you recognize and identify that you have enslaving yourself, only then can you really be set free. Harriet Tubman, she said it best: I would have freed thousands more if only they had known that they were slaves. So that was it, coming down the mountain, man. It was game on from that point. And I never looked back. And it's not enough for me to be free by myself. It's a campaign. It's a campaign to lock arms with others, because I know in any kind of isolation, in any kind of moments, with me being free, I can't sit outside the cage that I walked out of, that had no locks on it, had no chains on it. It was a wide open cage, and I didn't know it. I can't walk out of a jail cell and sit outside the cell and call it freedom. I got to keep moving towards freedom every single day. And I got to keep pulling as many people with me as I possibly can. So many people are captive by their thoughts. So many people are captive by their addictions, their habits. And so many times we let the opinions of others keep us from setting the boundaries that will allow us to reside in freedom, reside in peace. That energy that you connect yourself with is the energy you take on. In meditation, we know wherever your focus goes is where energy flows. So if your mindset is negative and pessimistic, you'll take on that energy, and everything will look like that. Your mindset is set to God, set to the good, you'll be free. And that's what it is, Cook, man. The journey, it embarked, and I was God started revealing to me to the things that that I wanted to see, man. So long I was looking for discernment, and it was like the hieroglyphics. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't decipher what God wanted me to do, because I was bringing in a negative energy, and he wasn't going to give to me. He wasn't going to reveal to me the things that would actually set me free. So as I started coming out of those woods, symbolic really of the chains that I had been in, he started opening up everything to me. He started revealing things to me. He started opening doors for me. And that none of that means that those steps that I had to take was easy. It just meant that I understood the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we are all children of God. We are all a sacrifice. We all belong to him. And that meant whatever came with that, whatever came on the other side of that thing that scared me the most, I was going to keep going through it. And I'm going to keep going through it and through it and through it, because through my breakthroughs, I help to set other people free, other people who are isolated, other people who are in chains, other people who are in bondage. And I can't do anything else with my life once I get connected to that. The freedom, the peace that I have is not enough for me to keep that to myself. It's got to be shared with as many people as I can. And that's where I'm at.
I don't even know what to say. Like that was man, that was incredible. That was amazing. Yeah. So you got to take me all the way back though. The process of like letting go of your ego and pride. Like you have to break that down for me.
Say that again.
So you gotta break it. You gotta break it down for me. We gotta go all the way back to the ego and the pride. Like, how was you able to just like be like, okay, you know what? I'm seeking every answer. Like, when did it really click? Was Sasha still like your daughter's thought still in your head through the whole process?
Great question. Great question. So at that point, man, what happens at that point is a transition. You transition, it's a beautiful balance, because the spark that ignited it was no longer your why, your revelation kind of changes. So even though that she was the spark that started it, it then goes and transitions into a bigger thought. And so then God sets you in the wilderness, and he allows you to come up with a deeper reason, a deeper why. And the deeper why was, not only could I not get her outside to do physical activity, but me doing me being selfish, me living a life indulged in alcohol and toxic behavior, led to a mountain of anxiety on my household, like a mountain. And so when I'm sitting in the wilderness with God, God said, look, you called this meeting. It's me and you now. Tell me what's on your mind. Because you think this is why it started, and that got you to come out into the woods with me. That got you to come out into the wilderness with me. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger. Yeah, it's bigger than that revelation. And so when I connected to that, it gave me the fuel that I needed to seek this out. And that allowed me to shed the ego. That allowed me to shed pride and to reach out and ask another man that I saw who was living a life example of where I wanted to be with my health. And so that intention and that I put it in on my health, it started to flow everywhere because I got intentional about one thing, those skills, those tools, that attitude that I took to engage in my health. I was able to realize that I could use that over here in my relationships with my wife, with my kids, with my friends, with my coworkers, different people that I engage with. Because that mountain of anxiety that I put on my household was actually the same anxiety that was inside of me. So as bold and as confident and as big as my personality was, inside of me was a ball of anxiety, a ball of fear, a ball of that's what comes when you are satisfying habits with evil spirits. That's that you're going that energy that you're taking on is what you're going to become. So I had become that, and when I had become that, I in that transition, I was able to identify. God showed me. He said, "This is why you're feeling this way. This is why your household's feeling this way. What will you give up in order to get peace? What will you surrender for solitude? What will it take for you that you're going to throw away in order to get what you want?" And so we have a misconception of throwing out pride. We have a misconception of throwing out ego. We think when we are in a bad headspace, we think throwing out ego and throwing out pride makes us weak. But actually, God wants us to throw out pride, wants us to throw out ego, because here's what happens, Cook, is when you put all your weaknesses on the table, you bring all your weaknesses, everything about you that is natural about you, and you set them on the table, and you're able to look at it and identify the things that oppress you, the things that hold you down, the things that don't give you peace. God makes a promise with you, but that promise comes with you obeying his principles. And when you set all those things down, you set all those things before him, he said, okay, what I want you to do is operate in your natural. And when you operate in your natural, I'm going to operate in my super. I'm going to put my super on top of your natural. And those places where you don't fit in, those pieces of the puzzle that don't connect, I'm going to connect all of those things. But the relationship aligns that reality. And you can't get to it without surrendering. And you can't get to it without realizing that you coming to him, you're telling him you want what he has to offer. So you have to create that space. And when you create that space, he gives you exactly what he knows is going to give you contentment. And it's not going to look like anything that you ever thought. So as I started coming out of that, as I started coming into that surrender, I gave up drinking. I had prayed for it. I had asked for it. Cook, I was a dude that could go to church Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m., go to church Sunday morning. As soon as I get out, I'm on a fifth of something. I'm on a fifth of tequila, fifth of cognac, fifth of brandy, fifth of something, going straight from the house and getting filled with the Holy Spirit and coming out and filling myself with an evil spirit. And neither one kept me from doing the other, ever. Neither, even when I'm a functioning alcoholic, never late for work, never disciplined at work, always had my paycheck, always able to work overtime. In anybody else's eyes, I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was handling my business. But I'm not handling my business because all of those things that I'm doing are putting mounds and mounds and mounds of anxiety on the household, on everybody around me. Because if I'm over here confused and trying to get engaged with align with the spirit, and I'm out here inviting, welcoming all of these evil entities into my life, everything that's connected to me is feeling that same energy. My 3 kids, my wife, my friends, my parents, my coworkers, they're feeling that same energy. As cool as I thought I was, as much of a positive personality that thought I was, I'm engaged in all of these things that are bringing out a evil spirit out of me. And when that happens, you're not understanding it because you're not in any position until you surrender, until you say, I give it all to you, God. Yeah.
I love it.
I know I'm throwing a lot at you, Cook.
No, it's good. One thing that I realize that you keep bringing up, which I think is so beautiful, is your wife. I want to speak on how your wife has not only been there for you, supported you, but throughout the whole journey of who you become at this very moment, at this very time. Like, who has Nikki been for you in your journey? Not only in your journey, but in household's journey.
I thought I was the strongest person in the household. I thought I was the head of the household, but I'll just tell you that as men, we think we are leading the household, and we think that we are as being the male, and that's another principle that the Bible tells us is to head up the household. But me understanding on this side of it that I was masquerading as the head of the household. And I was masquerading because nothing of my example was leading the household. And I'm always looking back at the family wondering why they're not following me, right? And anytime you gotta instill fear, anytime you have to command, anytime that you have to demand that somebody follow you, you're not a leader. You lead by being an example. You lead by being a servant. You lead by influence. And so for her to graciously stay connected to me throughout this transition is nothing but a testimony to God. You know, she could have left 1,000 times. She could have gave up on me. And you know, it would have been nothing I could, it would have been nothing I could say. Other than, you know, I wanted to fight for my relationship. I wanted to fight for my kids. I wanted to fight for myself. I wanted to, so that right there allowed me to come out of that. And, you know, it's still a journey. It's still a process. Things still in place to where that trust is not 100% built back, but it's getting better every day. It's getting more beautiful every day. And the more I align with God, he graciously puts into perspective where we are. And I know the storms and the hardship that we have been through, so that you know, that allows the humbleness to stay in, but also with that beautiful balance. Something that we have to remember is that time in space does not define who we are now. And everything about the devil would try to remind me of those spaces and those places and say, hey, you know, who do you think you are sharing your testimony? Like, you know, this is still you. That's still who you are. And what we have to remember is that greater is ahead of us if we surrender. The greatest parts of us and who we are and what we have to offer this world is ahead of us. And just like David used, or God used David to slay Goliath, that was the last person in that day, in that time, that they thought with his stature, they could slay that giant. And what we have to remember, and this is every human being, is that God is using your testimony, because your testimony is uniquely assigned to you. He is using everything about you to be a breakthrough for somebody else. And so in those times when an evil spirit tries to remind me of my past, of what I've came through, and tries to pull me back there and say, who do you think you are? I peacefully tell that spirit and remind that spirit that I'm a child of God. And me being a child of God qualifies me. It qualifies me from day one. Before I even got here, God prepared the way for me to be right here in this space, telling this story on this podcast with Chris Cook. And I tell you that so it gives you the license to surrender. It gives you the license to find your place of solitude, because otherwise you'll keep letting that evil entity pull you back. And when he's trying to pull you back, you're keeping somebody else from breaking through, because God gave you that unique testimony for you to share. Your testimony is your gift to this world, is your glorification of the kingdom. And when you glorify the kingdom, you tell the goodness of God and what he can do for others, and you allow them to believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, going from that to putting that on the household to where you are right now, let's speak on the fact of you becoming, now you're an entrepreneur, you're pursuing
Yeah.
the helping people find freedom, helping them find peace in their own life, creating these habits. You've been talking
Mm-hmm.
about habits a lot. So I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be able to, tell us more about what you're doing as an entrepreneur and the things that you've not only accomplished in your life, but you have accomplished for your family and others.
So I am a third generation of Alcoa, the aluminum plant. I worked there for 17 years. Beautiful, beautiful space, beautiful community, co-workers. The co-workers that I still engage with, man, are tremendous. Like I worked with some beautiful humans. 17 years, man. Walked out of that place on my 17-year anniversary date, January 10th, 2022. It For some that would be a huge feat, a huge no, because of the benefits, because of the pay scale at the place is tremendous. It's been tremendous for me and my family. It's been a blessing. But I knew there was more as I started health coaching August of 2020. So when I started health coaching and I started helping other people to find their health journeys, I started to notice that there was more freedom ahead of me. Like um, I wasn't at the end of that. I wasn't at the peak of my freedom, and there was more to do. And that more to do embodied me connecting with other individuals. So started health coaching, and me and my wife started doing it together as a tandem, and it allowed so much freedom just for ourselves that it opened the possibility in my mind in that first year, working it, really getting intentional and about my goals, about things that we wanted to achieve, putting together dream boards, vision boards, checking things off, chains started to be broken. Bills started to be paid off. People are being helped, started connecting and aligning with like-minded people. Relationships started to form. All of this started because when I started giving out this energy of coaching, I needed a source. I needed a plug. That plug was God. So I started replenishing my spirit, replenishing my energy. It put me on a path of meditation in alignment with my devotion, alignment to self-development. I started reading book after book. I keep a book. This book, right? Hey, listen.
I got it.
Yes.
I got
go
that.
Go get that. So it started a whole alignment with myself and others, and creating and just casting my net bigger. And the revelation took off that I could, through my own purpose, align with God, provide for my family, provide for myself in abundance. And that abundance, what it allows me to do is create more impact. So I'm vicious with it. I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with good habits now because I replaced a ton of bad habits with good habits, and I'm 0 to 100. And so these businesses, health coaching, life insurance broker, um, as new and as uncomfortable as some of the areas of those businesses are, I knew I wanted a life of freedom. I knew I wanted to be present with my kids, be present with my wife, go to church when I want to go to church and not have to miss because I got to work on Sunday, not have to miss this event because I got to work, not have to not travel when I want to travel. So I can travel, I can work from anywhere in where I'm at. I can connect with people, engage with people, help people find their health. And when me and my wife Nikki started working together, it was beautiful. I got to see, out of being with Mary for 22 years, I actually got to see her skills, her gifts, her talents up close. We work this business as a team, and she works a what we call her means job, and then we work this purpose job together. And this purpose job aligned us in ways that I never thought was possible. Like, she gets to see my gifts, I get to see her gifts, and we combine, and she helps me strengthen my weaknesses. I help her strengthen her weaknesses. And it's just a beautiful harmony. And it's a process like everything else, man. When you build it together, it's even more special. So we're helping a lot of people. We're coaching clients, coaching coaches, mentoring business leaders, aligning with just some beautiful people, man.
All right, first and foremost, man, I gotta say congratulations on 22 years. That's incredible. That's
Yes.
You know, my parents have been together for 23. So there's so many, you were talking about, these people been around you. There's so many examples that I have of what beautiful marriages are, right? And like you said,
Yeah.
it is a process. But as far as this health coaching goes, this is kind of going to be like a loaded question. So I want you to really, I'm going to start you off with the first question is, what is Optavia?
So Optavia is it's a nutrition program that's built on establishing good habits, good routines. And a lot of people, when they think about getting healthy, the underlying issue behind a lot of unhealthy ways are our habits and things that are like an automated process to us, right? Like it's things that happen that we're not aware of because we've just put them in motion and they become a routine. We don't need them. We just have those things that we've created that we just need to replace with good habits. So it's a nutrition system that's simple for people to connect and remove bad habits and install good habits.
Yeah. So you got to tell us, how did you get involved? Like, who was that call from, that email, text, whatever? Like, how did you see the program? Was it Nikki or was it more of like an outside source?
My older brother, Vincent Davis, who at times I have a hard time listening to because he's an older sibling. He told us about this in May of 2020. He happened to be home. And his next door neighbor who lived across the street was Drew and Jana Epperson. Drew happened to catch him at home because of COVID. He was not out running and grinding with his insurance business. He, at the time, was about 275. He was on diabetic medicine. He was on blood pressure medicine. He thought he had rheumatoid arthritis, like our parents, and he could barely move. The 6 months before that, I had seen him, and in about 3.5 months, he shed about 70 pounds, and me and Nikki was watching him, and he told us about it and asked us, if we was interested. And at the time, I was not going to do it. I was eating, vegetarian, whole foods at the time. I was balancing between 245 and 240. So I thought I was pretty good as far as weight goes, but I was waiting for Nikki to join me on the health journey. But again, the influence, I can't, you can't make somebody change. They have to do it on their own terms, by their own will. And so she started January 2020 with another company that I don't want to mention, but I'm a champion for anybody getting their health in order. So I don't care what company it is. So she starts her journey, and then we start to see Vincent with Optavia, and he's taking off, and he's looking better than I've seen him in years. Feeling good, energy, cognitive clarity, everything that comes along with good health. So August 2020, Nikki decides to do it. I say, best wishes. I wish you well, but I don't want to do that. And it would have been a terrible decision on my part. So she orders her kit through my brother. He's her health coach. I order my kit to do the program, and then I order my credentials to be a health coach, because I knew if I was a health coach, I would stay accountable to my health goals. So ordered that August 20th. She started program August 17th. I started August 24th. Together, we have shed 90 plus pounds, kept that off for 19 months. And it put what we thought we knew about healthy into a structure. That structure allows us to never have to compromise our health goals, because of the education portion of what the program offers. And then, you get a health coach, you get fuelings that allow you to, no matter where you're at, home, out and about, traveling, allow you to never have to have the option of going somewhere where you have to compromise your health in the lifestyle that you want to live. So that's where it is. Amazing program.
Wow, that's incredible. So last thing is, man, you got to tell people how they can get involved. What do they have to do? How do they have to sign up? Where do they need to go to? What's your email, phone number, all that?
So the email is davisw.vernon@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Vern Halen, like Van Halen, VERNHALEN. That's my Instagram tag. And then my phone number is 865-405-3478. So I'm a health coach, and me and Nikki, health coach, do it together. We coach male, female, older, younger. It's a sustainable program, and we're attached with other coaches. So my recommendation is that you get with a coach that makes you comfortable. So we have to be connected to hundreds of coaches that that you may identify with. And if you identify with that person and you're comfortable with that person, we can get you attached to somebody. Like, even if it's not me and my, you know, my bright personality, it's somebody out there that you will attach with. So if you're interested in it, or interested in coaching and making money and creating your own freedom, if that gives you an extra stream of income, or if that allows you to connect to your purpose, then I welcome you to reach out. Yeah.
That's amazing. Just seeing, like, I know, like I said, just seeing the purpose behind it, and seeing, I mean, the community, first of all, let me speak about that from my outside of just seeing the love that I got from Drew and Troy and Tanner and you and your brother, and, you know, just like the love that I've got just from you guys, and supporting me, and, you know, pushing me to get into coaching. And then I'm like, nah, I'm hesitant. And I'm, you know, so it's still working on me. So it's still working on me. You know, it's just, I think, you know, just like I said, so for anybody that's listening to this, it's Optavia. You heard Vernon, you heard his story, you heard his wife's story. I implore everybody to get involved that wants to get involved, because the program, it's more of, it's a family. You know, I see all the events that you do. I see the community. You know, I see the foundation. You know, I see where everybody's been on their own health journey, and then seeing you all come together. You know, and it's just like, I know I just seen it, like I said, from the outside. So anybody that's listening, you know, that's heard this, there's a mission behind this, there's purpose behind this, and it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but it is a beautiful program that I've seen. You know, it's just like, that's what I can speak on. I haven't, you know, got involved, but I can speak on just, you know, my personal experience of, like I said, getting the love and support from people that don't even know me, you know, but they, you know, they take the time. And that's what I'm saying, from the community, they take the time to get to know you as a human being. It's not about it's not about just the program. This is more of like habits, purpose, the beauty of it, the connections, the love, the networking. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on about.
I'm hearing you cook, but I'm just watching you operate your gift, man, and you're very perceptive of what the program is, and you know, it's hard to really put it all into context, because it's empowerment. It's empowerment, and it's an awakening to your potential. So as much as you know, I'm a health coach, it allows me to develop, to allow somebody else to believe in their own potential. And once we discover our own potential, once we align with that thing inside of us that wants to be great, once we have to believe it in order to go after it. And that's what this program has taught me, level by level by level. And you know, the mantra is one healthy habit at a time. So you're not trying to do all of this at one time and it become too overwhelming and crush your spirit. You know, that's what it's about. So thank you for this platform, man, and thank you for everything that you're doing to allow people to awaken their own potential. Thank you for what you do through your brand, where you are able to connect with many different people in different walks of life and instill in them confidence. And the BeGreat brand has just been tremendous in that aspect. Every time you see it, you can't look at this. You can't look at BeGreat and not be engaged to ask about it. Like anytime somebody's got that on, and like you said from the get-go, it sparks conversation. And what's better than sparking conversation with other humans, man? Like there's nothing better, and it's a universal instrument. I mean, it's a universal pulling. So thank you.
No, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it sometimes. Just sometimes I have to really just like, I sit in my car and I'm like, this is really what you're doing. Because I remember the kid I battled self-esteem my whole life. And now I'm at the point, like, I never took the time to actually, take the time to heal. I never took the time. So now I'm able to sit at 26 and I'm still in my own journey, in my own search of finding greatness in myself. But I'm able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm able to do that now at 26 years old, is help people find, like you said, their own greatness and becoming great. Like, all I can say is it's nothing but God. That's all it is. It was just a moment of, this is all God, or God intervened. Like, there's no other thing. I can't give this to another, like, I can't give it to another avenue, because it's nothing but God. And I know, like, it's amazing how at 13, 14, I was praying for this very moment. And then to see, like, I've always said, be great. I've always said, even when I was in high school, be great, be great. I don't know what it was. It was just always, and I had this whole vision of, like, me being great. But here's the thing, though. I was living more in my dream, because I wanted to play in the NBA. I wanted to be a professional athlete, right? I wanted to do all these amazing things that I knew I could. I mean, the message is, for what most young Black men and women, what is our gifts to get out of, to where whatever environment or situation. I'm 6'7". So the whole thing was like, the league. Well, that was like a dream, that was a dream, but it didn't hit me, it hit me, and it was like, dude, you're not living your purpose, bro. Like, God put you on here on a purpose, and your purpose is not to put a basketball on a hoop. Like, your purpose is to what you've been saying at 13, 14 years old. And coming through that and finding your own greatness at 26, and then helping other people find that. So then my dream just turned into, I can still do those things. I don't have to play at that level. I can still do all that, but be great is my passion. This is what I love to do. This is what I live and breathe. Like, being on this is like astronomical for me. And like I was telling you in text, I'm like, this episode is going to be legendary. And that's why I wanted to have, like, this episode for me, I wanted to be more of I wanted to hear your story, for one. I've always heard the outside of who Vernon was, but I wanted to actually sit down and actually hear your story. But I think this was more of like, my podcast is coming back. And I wanted it to be that, like, it's like the revival, right? You know how it's like, you haven't been in church in a while. You know what I'm saying? You haven't been in a while, but it's like that revival to bring the BeGreat podcast back. And why not bring you onto the show and have this to where, like I said, this episode is going to be legendary. I mean, we could talk all day.
It's crazy that you say that, man. Like, when we started the business, me and Nikki, I am the CEO, but she's the CFO. So she controls the business aspect of it, and I control the creative narrative of it. But just as soon as we started the business, we knew we had to start, the LLC for the life insurance and the health coaching. So I named it Life After Death. And I named it Life After Death because it's so many variations of why I did it. But, you know, one being that, you know, it was a rebirth of my life after going through that dead shell, coming out of that. Life After Death, of course, I'm a big Notorious Big fan. Life After Death, when I'm talking about creating your legacy with being insured, being protected, you know, that life after death with anything is you realizing that in the state that you're in, that you are purely existing, and you were made and created and formed to be more than just existing, more than just treading water, more than just being here. You were made to be great. You were made to connect to your purpose. And your vision of who you are and your purpose and what you are is not necessarily going to look like what your flesh thought it would look like. It's not necessarily going to be putting that ball in the hoop. It's going to be what makes you wake up every day and want to do that without an alarm clock waking you up, without somebody telling you got to do it, what drives your heart's passion every day. That's where your purpose is. And when you align with God, he'll reveal it to you. He'll reveal what that thing is. So that's all I got, Cook, man. Like you said, we could talk forever. We've been on this joint for about an hour.
Yeah,
but
so
I loved it.
Like I said, man, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you for just being just a light in my life. You know, I remember just like quick snippet, you would send me these texts all the time. And at the time I'd read it and I'm like, what does he mean by this? What does he mean? But now it's like I'm not just existing no more. Like I'm at work. Like yeah. I'm on the job. I'm writing out my plan. I'm writing out what I want to do. I'm writing out my goals. I'm writing out my goals for my life, my business, right? And my dad, he has this quote. I text it to him every single day. It's a man with no plan has no direction. And I live by that now. I mean, I got your whole questions right here. I got it on the thing. Like, all right, where's I got my plan. I got it. So last question. I'm gonna end it on this. Right. I end all my shows like this. So I love to hear people's on it, what their message is. But what does Be Great mean to you?
Be Great is, it's a constant mantra in my head because it activates motion, and it gets me from just thinking about a thought in my head and putting it into action. Goals align with action, net abundant life. Be Great is a verb, and it's a phrase in action to me. So Be Great tells me to get out and be great and activate my purpose. That's what I see every time I see it. That's what I see when I see it on other people. Be great. Like be great don't mean stand still. Be great don't mean sit on a couch. Be great don't mean isolate. It means activate.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, cuz, man. I love you, man. Thanks for jumping on the show. The Be Great podcast is back. Thank you again. We will have another show coming Monday. Thank you so much. Peace and love.
Thank you.